Ohio Valley Conference Specialist of the Week, Red Hawks punter Zach Haynes is going to join us a little bit later on in the show. And don't forget, if you're thinking about coming to Wings, etc., check out their award-winning jumbo wings. Dine in or carry out, it's up to you. Now, DoorDash is delivering wings, etc., right to your front door. Just go through the DoorDash app, and you can have the delicious menu from Wings, etc., delivered right to you. And a lot more than just wings on the menu. They have a brand new burger menu. Check that out. They have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs, and much, much more. And if you are coming for lunch, check out their daily half-pound lunch specials. They start at just $7.99. It is the home of the Red Hawks Coaches Show. Wings, etc. Good food, great times. Let's welcome in the head coach at Southeast Missouri State, Coach Tom Matukowicz. Did you get your wings order in yet? Because I know you came in just a couple of minutes ago. I didn't know if you had time to get the order in.
I didn't. I'm going to get her here when we get Mr. Haynes on the phones. I'm looking forward to introducing everybody to Zach on the radio and telling about his story. He's a pretty cool kid, and it's great to see someone have that much success after all the work he's put in.
And a local player. He's from Potosi.
Yeah. That I don't know what Potosi's known for.
We'll ask him.
I assume nothing. So let's hope someday it'll be known for that's where Zach Haynes from.
All right, you go to the University of Missouri, and first of all, were you able to get out of town with your $550,000 check? That's the big thing.
We got out of town with a check, but one less bus. So we had a bus go down on us, and so hopefully we don't have to spend that $550 on fixing a bus.
So I know you like to travel with 3 buses, and so you lose one of the 3. How do you adjust on the fly when something like that happens?
Snuggle up, Buttercup. Come get you some. There's not a lot of great answers. But it is a challenge. You don't think it's a big deal, but we had a kid go in a full body cramp on the bus after the game.
Wow.
So you need space. You need to be able to hydrate after a game and all those type of things.
So Missouri ends up winning the football game 59-28. It is 38-0 at halftime. They jumped on you early, and they really wanted to establish their passing game with Connor Bazelak, who is one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC. He was the co-SEC Freshman of the Year a season ago, and it looked like right away they wanted to stretch the defense by throwing the ball pretty deep. I mean, he unloaded some balls downfield.
Yeah, they definitely wanted to throw it. They probably saw that we've given up a lot of passes, so I'm sure that had something to do with it too. So, there's lots of things that we got to try to get better on defense. And the thing I appreciate is each and every week you can look through, I think, non-emotionally and say there's been progress. There's been progress as a team, but more importantly, progress from an offense, progress from a defense, special teams. But we need to make a big jump. Our pass defense is, not good enough, and we got to get it better. I do think we'll get some of those players back, and of course that's going to help us be better immediately. But there was a lot of our problems didn't have anything to do with Mizzou, so we got to continue to address those issues, give clarity about those issues and accountability, but also, provide them opportunities in practice to really try to get that off the film.
How tough is it to really know different aspects of your football team considering the opposition that you faced? SIU rolled Dayton, put up 55 points again. They're going to be a national championship contender. They were a couple of games away from the national championship game last year. Sam Houston State, defending national champs, #1 in the nation, everybody back, and then you've got a game against an SEC school. How tough is it for the coaching staff to evaluate the team considering who you played?
Well, whether we're a good team or not will eventually show itself, right? So we don't even talk like, hey, are we good or not? Because it doesn't really matter. What matters to us is that we're getting better. Are we continually to improve? And, how about offensively? We've been, I've obviously been sitting up here thinking and been talking like, hey, I think our O-line could be pretty good. But they didn't really, they hadn't shown it yet. But really, when you look through the film against Missouri, we were able to run the ball and hold up, and obviously put some twos in and stuff like that. But their twos are still probably better than most OVC teams, and so that was great to see. That's the progress that we were wanting to see. That we still got to be able to throw the ball better, and that's still progress we need to make on offense. But to outrush an SEC opponent, as a team, that's a good foundational thing to build an OVC run on.
You ran the ball for 294 yards. That is 59 yards more than Missouri rushed the football. And in the second half, you outscore them 28-21, and the running game really got some traction in the second half with some long runs. It was all capped by Canaries Anderson's 75-yard run, but all of a sudden, Shemensky Rucker into the lineup, given a chance to play. He rushes for 2 touchdowns, had 2 long runs before his first touchdown, a 17-yard run, and then he went in from 18 yards out.
Yeah. There's several things I want to address there before I forget. One of the biggest things I wanted to address was just how we finished the game. One of our goals this week was to be excited about the challenge and stay excited. Regardless of whatever was going on, whatever kind of adversity we were making as a team, like we still wanted to have great energy on the bench, great energy out there, still trying to not waste those 40 reps we got in the second half, like still straining to try to win your one-on-ones and to be able to finish the game and outscore them. That means a lot. I mean, it really does. It tells you a lot about our character, and I've always said this, you don't really know what kind of team you have until adversity hits. We got rung up 2 weeks in a row. We have a good player all of a sudden just hit the easy button and just walk out. And all of a sudden we're getting smoked in the first half, right? So a low-character team does what? They finish getting smoked.
Yep.
So that tells you a lot about the character of this team, and that was the main takeaway. And I really wanted them to understand, like, that's not easy. And so we can build on that, keep that up, and obviously there's a ton of things we got to get through, but I wanted to make sure I address that. Shemensky Rucker, we say it all the time, preparation meets an opportunity, like you get it done or you don't get it done, right? And he did a really, really good job. At first I kind of thought it was the O-line, but when I watched the film, man, he hit the holes well. Had good vision, did a lot of good things. I think he still needs to continue to improve some other stuff like pass pro and all the other things that make you a good running back. But I think we come out of the preseason, or I guess it's the non-conference, with ability to build a lot of depth. We've had more injuries. We had 7 starters out. Of course, you don't want to do that. But what that did is it forced us to play all these young players, right? I mean, we had freshmen and guys that just got here in July play a lot of meaningful snaps. So when we do get our other players back, we're going to go into OVC with a lot of depth now because those guys got opportunity to play. Of course, you don't want them to play. You'd rather them get their times in spring balls and all those type of things. But that was the hand we're dealt, and going into it, I think that's going to help us down the road.
So Shemensky Rucker gets reps in this Missouri game. I don't know how many he would have gotten, but he got more reps in the game, and officially he carried the ball 7 times, 48 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Zion Custis, who has been here for 3 years, I guess informed you he's going to hit the transfer portal, which is disappointing because he was a very good player for you. How do you address the team after something like that, knowing that somebody just kind of quit on him and is going to go in a different direction? Obviously, it gives you an opportunity to get a look in-game rep situations at other guys, and the 2 guys that you gave the opportunities to certainly passed the test. But how do you explain that? And this is becoming something that is almost commonplace now, the transfer portal.
Well, I'm not going to speak on Zion. I'm going to use the phrase my wife likes to tell me: if I don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. So I'll leave that there. But as a team, you address it. You rip the Band-Aid off. I tell them all the time, like when something happens, you got to ask yourself 2 questions. Does it matter, and can I control it? If it matters and you can control it, then we need to focus on it. But even though it matters that someone left, we can't control it. So at the end of the day, the quicker we can just get to Rep and Sheminsky and moving on, the better off the program's going to be. So that night just told them and moved on, and they did. But, again, that is adversity, though, right? And how are you going to handle that on top of, on top of, on top of, on top of? And that's why I was so impressed with our football team right now and just how they're handling those type of things.
So Canaries Anderson gets in the football game, only gets one carry, but he takes it 75 yards for a touchdown. And I know there were some people in Vegas that didn't like that because Mizzou didn't end up covering the spread. I'm not a gambling guy, but I always check the spread ahead of time. But Canaries Anderson from Charleston, there are SEC athletes in that defensive backfield, and nobody ran him down, Coach.
Yeah, he's got a top end, and no one ran him down, and they weren't carrying ball. Like, that slows you down to have a football in your hands. So that's what kind of gear he has, and just so happy for him too. And all those guys. There was a lot of newcomer O-linemen and tight ends that played in that play there. And so the best part about it is just how excited his teammates were for him. I mean, all over the bench, all over everybody was just so excited for Q, and we love Q and so happy for him in that moment.
I mean, I watched the sideline, and guys were jumping on him, high-five. I'm like you had just won the football game. So, they don't do that to guys who really haven't established themselves in the locker room, right?
Right, and, that only care about themselves, right? Obviously he sacrificed a lot for the Red Hawks and have done a great job for us. And so those players know that, and they were excited for him.
Is he a guy who we may see on the field a little bit more going forward now?
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Got to have good depth, and so that gave us an opportunity to play more guys. And if something does happen, you're going to, hopefully the next guy in, there's not going to be a drop-off.
How healthy did your O-line emerge from the game? I know one of their good defensive linemen, ended up being injured and had to leave for the University of Missouri. How did the O-line grade out, and did you get out of there pretty healthy on the O-line?
We did. Yeah, they did a great job, and really the most important grade, which they played hard and they played physical. A lot of knockdowns. It was a cut play that Cordy cut that D lineman on that play, and just so they really try to impose their will on them. And obviously they won probably more than we won. But when you look at it, it doesn't look like an OVC and an SEC. It looked like two good units, a good D-line and a good O-line going at each other. So still some work needs to be done in the pass protection. They leaked through there a couple times, and so we got to continue to work on that.
Boy, you can see C.J. Agbana getting better every game, Coach. The first game, it looked like, he looked like a quarterback who hadn't had the playbook that much and was a little rusty and had not had as many reps as other guys. The second week, he certainly threw the ball a heck of a lot better against Sam Houston State, had a couple of key runs, including a first down run. He ran the ball very well. You had RPOs. He made right decisions to keep the ball himself. Yep. He could be a nightmare for the Ohio Valley Conference.
Yeah, he ran strong. He had great ball security, good decision-making. We're going to need that, and to balance out our run game so they can't just key in on our running backs. And so he did a great job there. I still think there was a couple of the passing game. There's a couple guys open we got to hit earlier and those type of things. He had the one bad ball that ended up getting picked, but it got called back. But other than that, you see progress, right? Like that's the whole point. You're not going to go overnight from 0 to 100, but just make sure the needle is keep improving, and he has. And so, hats off to Coach McDowell and the whole offense from the just how hard it is to keep improving, especially when you talk about the talent that you're playing against.
And when you're talking about trying to throw the ball against Missouri, he's down arguably his best two receivers. First of all, Zach Smith missed a second straight game with his foot injury. And then Aaron Alston was called for targeting on a punt for Missouri. He was one of the gunners, and he went in a little bit high, got called for targeting in the first quarter. So for the rest of the game, he's down his two top receivers.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I mean. We built a lot of depth with some of those other wide receivers. A couple guys caught a ball that hadn't, and so we're going to be way better, obviously, with Z and Aaron in the game, and so hopefully we'll get them back soon.
So Will Weideman caught a pass from the guy we'll be talking to, Zach Haynes, in the fake punt that went 35 yards against Sam Houston State. But Weideman, couple of catches in the football game, targeted 3 times in the game. Is Weideman a guy that you might be able to implement into the offense? Looks like he runs pretty good routes.
Yep.
He's a load to bring down,
Yep.
and his hands look pretty soft.
Yep. No, I think you're right. As far as our passing game on offense, he's a big piece of it. I think what we're going to try to get him is maybe get him the ball a little sooner, because you need the run after catch. Like, that's what you want, right? You want him running around the secondary because none of those DBs want to tackle him. So he's got to be able to maybe step through an arm tackle, but also get him the ball so he can get his pads around quicker and be able to get a lot of run after catch, because that's what a good tight end will be able to do.
So on the defensive side of the football, your leading tackler in the game is Tyler Nalome, and this is a freshman, and it looked at one point like he was going to be called for targeting, but we saw the replay multiple times. He did not, go helmet to helmet with it, so it got waved off as a targeting. But he's in there, 10 tackles, a double-digit tackle performance for a freshman. We hadn't talked much about Tyler Nalome. What can you tell us about him and his performance against Missouri?
It's Nellum.
Oh, it's Nellum. Good.
But he is he has a tremendous future. So what happened, though, during fall, he missed 2 weeks of fall camp. So not only has he not had a spring ball since he's been here, he's had 0 development time because he missed fall camp because of an injury. And so his first week practicing was Sam Houston.
Wow.
So,
and then all of a sudden, here he is on an SEC field.
And he got way better from Sam Houston to Mizzou. So hopefully he can continue to get better. He's a big, really good talent, but, man, he'll scare the crap out of you too, because he is still a freshman. He didn't target him because he missed him. He tried to.
You said that on the post-game show. I was going to ask you about it.
Fundamentally, he's just out there just playing ball. And it's not his fault. I mean, we got to get time to coach him. Getting better doesn't just happen. You need reps and development time. But, he's one that certainly continues to get better, and we need to get him on the field and for him to tackle that well. Because in the secondary, watch Sam Houston, we didn't tackle very well, and we got way better at tackling versus Mizzou.
So tell us a little bit about his background in recruiting Tyler Nellum.
Yeah, just kind of thought he was going to Virginia Tech. He's an Atlanta guy from Georgia. Coach Smith was recruiting him, got great ties, and was on an official visit to Virginia Tech, and they didn't end up offering him. And so he was so late that he just kind of got left out, and we ended up being able to offer him and sign him.
So normally what you're saying is he's one of those guys, and FCS thrives on these type of players who think they're going to be FBS guys. It doesn't end up happening. No one else swoops in, but you swoop in, and you may find a diamond in the rough.
Yeah,
is he
exactly.
that kind of guy?
He's that way talent-wise. Now, does he have the work ethic and the humility to let us coach him? That's still yet to be said, because you're not born great. You're born with skill sets and DNA and all those type of things, but I don't care how gifted you are, it takes serious work to be able to hone your craft. And so he's on track. I'm excited about it, and we just got keep him humble and hungry.
Well, you were depleted in the defensive secondary. Shabari Davis out again. What do we know about Davis? Because everything has worked against you in your return game.
Yeah.
You got Shabari Davis, maybe the best punt returner in the league. Then you've got his backup, Zach Smith. He's out with an injury. Then Zion Custis was your punt returner at Sam Houston. He's gone. So you were down to your 4th punt returner. And
who was Aaron Alston.
Yeah. And then he's out of the game.
Who was ejected. And then here comes Garrett Todd, who was our 5th. And crushed it. Had a nice return.
Yes, he did.
And so that's why it's so crazy. But I do believe we'll get some of those guys back. Shabari's improving. We anticipate him practicing this week. We'll see how that goes, but we haven't seen him yet.
I know Zach Smith said a couple of weeks ago he had hoped to be back by the Tennessee State game. What's the status on Zach?
Same way.
Okay.
We haven't seen him. He didn't make the trip. He stayed at home. And so, he's probably a little more questionable, so we'll just see how he heals and all that. Well, Marjorie Douglas, is obviously, one of our best players on the team, let alone defense, and he was
I hope
out.
we didn't jinx him by having him on the show last week, and then all of a sudden he's not available Saturday.
Well, the good thing is you're the only one that believes in jinxing.
Okay.
So no one on my team, my staff, or I'm trying to get my family. My damn daughter's like, she brings I wouldn't be surprised she buys me a rabbit's foot for birthday. I think she knows it gets my gig, but we gotta get those guys healthy, and so Mardrick I think will be back too, and so I think the scare that I have as a coach though is, hey, all of a sudden we get these guys back and hey, here's OVC, we're good. No. Because there's a lot of things in there that had nothing to do with Mizzou and Sam Houston and SIU. That had everything to do with SEMO coaches and SEMO players. And so we got to make sure that just because we're starting to oversee the same things that we got to continue to improve and in fact, even, work even harder to try to improve them. Because these are winnable games, but they're not just going to come in and give us the game. We got to earn them, and we just got to continue that process of getting better.
Another one of your starting linebackers, Brandon Mincy, missed another game. Might we see Brandon Mincy on Saturday?
Yep, hopefully so. I know he's trying hard. So him and Z are kind of in that same mode. Certainly it's within this week or the next.
Well, Jacob Morrissey has been the recipient of a little extra playing time, and Morrissey played well again on Saturday after he had the 2 sacks at Sam Houston State.
No, again, built that good depth, and he continued to improve. And, of course, Norman, Bryce had another good game. And so we got some good depth going on. And you look at how many freshmen are up in the tackle chart, it's scary. You don't want it like that, but that's kind of the cards that dealt at this point.
And I thought it was cool after the game as I was kind of keeping an eye on the field, and Connor Tollison and Bryce Norman found each other after the game, got a chance to talk. Pretty cool.
Exactly.
You're in an SEC environment. You got 2 kids from 8 miles away over in Jackson who played in the football game.
Heck yeah, man, that's really cool, and families and everything else. Like that's what it should be. I mean, that's why, when I got here, that was one of the promises I made myself is I try to recruit local, and it can't be like Oprah and everybody gets one, but, we got to try to create a product that local athletes want to play for, but also just because someone may be a little bit of this or a little bit of that in Texas or wherever, we're going to get to them after our local talent's evaluated and we try to recruit them.
So as the head coach, you have to oversee a million things. I'm sure the average person has no idea all of the tasks that you have to oversee and really spearhead. And you certainly want to designate certain things to your coaches and let them run with things that you trust them to run with. And that's why you have coordinators. You've got an O coordinator and you've got a defensive coordinator. Well, your longtime defensive coordinator, Bryce Sy, who was excellent, and I know you had the utmost trust in, decided he was going to retire. So all of a sudden, are you going to be able to – it's kind of like, are you going to hand out a scholarship to somebody who you may not have faith in, or are you just going to hold on to the scholarship and adapt?
Right.
Well, are you going to go out there and get a coordinator who you may not know a lot about and you haven't developed any trust with? You decided no, you're going to be the defensive coordinator. How much of a challenge is that? And do you think there's another football program in the country that does not have a defensive coordinator? Now, coaches may focus in on one side of the football. I know you're more of a defensive guy. That doesn't mean you're the coordinator.
Right.
But this year you are the coordinator, and I don't know how many programs in the country where the head coach is actually a coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, well, right now it's looking pretty stupid. But, at the end of the day, I don't get to pick the hand I'm dealt.
Yeah.
But you lose a guy in May, I mean, you can't sit there and, you got to play it, and that's what I felt was the best. And, we just got to move forward with trying to get better. And, unfortunately, I haven't been a very good coach, and I just got to do a better job, I think both sides. I think my team needs a better head coach, and my team needs a better D coordinator. And but at the end of the day, like, I knew that's of course we're going to struggle because of the card. I mean, you can only play your hand a certain way,
Sure.
And so it just is what it is. So our job is just to manage it, improve it, do the best we can with what we're dealt with, and see if it's good enough to win an OVC. I still think we can. But it ain't going to happen by hoping for the best or by, not having accountability about me blaming players or coaches blaming players. Like, we gotta do a good job of owning our piece, and everybody just try to get better, and it's all good. And at the end of the day, my job's wonderful. Like, in the department store life, I'm in the toy section. Like, no one should feel sorry for me. Like, I have a unbelievable job. I got a wife. I think she loves me. She tells me she loves me. I get nervous, but I think we're in love. I got 2 beautiful daughters, and I'm coaching ball with a team that's one that gets better. So it's all good, and we're going to just try to get better. I'm excited. I heard we're almost sold out for the game.
Great.
And so, here's the OVC. Here's what we talk about. Now let's go. Let's put some work in. The scary part to me is it's just human nature to let up and go, oh, okay, now we'll be okay because we're going to OVC. We're not. The things that have kept us from being successful the last 3 weeks will continue if we don't get them better.
I think it's encouraging to Red Hawk fans because nobody breaks down film more than the coaching staff, and no one does more than the head coach. Encouraging to Red Hawk fans to hear you say, I'm seeing improvement. I'm seeing us get better. Those are the things, and it's got to be encouraging to you to watch on film and say, there we go, we go.
Yeah. My eye's been bleeding from watching film the last 3 Sundays, so it's like watching a scary movie over and over and over again. But you hit it on the head. When there's improvement, there's momentum, there's energy, there's enthusiasm and progress, right? And so that's what we just got to keep focusing on. And, the chase is on. How good can we get? How quick can we get it? And so we now have a really good idea, though, of some things that we're doing well and some things that we got to improve on. So now let's go.
So I know that you're focused on your football team, and that's all you're focused in on. But this past week, it was announced that Austin Peay is going to leave the Ohio Valley Conference. That'll be the 3rd program, along with Jacksonville and Eastern Kentucky. They're all going to the A-Sun. What were your thoughts when you saw that, and what were your thoughts on the commissioner's release? And kind of at the end of the release saying, hey, if there's a conference out there that's interested, give us a call.
Man, you know how to really push my buttons because I want to vomit on you right now. And across America, just chunks of vomit on my microphone. That's how I feel, but I'm going to, again, default to my wife saying, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all.
All right.
So that's my statement.
Well, I'm sure you have something good to say about our next topic, and that is your punter, Zach Haynes. We mentioned he's from Potosi. He was outstanding on Saturday. Zach Haynes averaged over 47 yards per punt, or 46 yards per punt. A long of 62, and he has a knack for dropping balls inside the 20-yard line. 2 more balls that he killed inside the 20, punted 5 times in the game. Oftentimes, punters don't even get looked at in a loss to be the specialist of the week in the OVC. Well, he was the specialist of the week in the OVC. That's how good he was this past week. The numbers aren't as big in the Sam Houston game, but we talked about it last week. How good was he? They have a brilliant punt returner who kept having to throw his hand up and make fair catches all day because he couldn't return one of Zach's punts.
Yeah, no doubt. So he out of high school, he was under recruited. He came to a camp, and performed well. Coach Martin offered him a walk-on spot, so he came in. We had Jake Reynolds, obviously finished his career as an outstanding punter, and he just went to work and has kind of day by day, brick by brick, improved his life and improved his skill sets. And then all of a sudden he gets his opportunity, because you remember in SIU, and we kicked 2 punters. We weren't sure, because obviously it looks like this in practice, but what does it look like when bullets are flying? Then all of a sudden he just separated himself and just crushed it. But the thing I like about him is he's a competitor. He's not satisfied. He's still trying to get better. We're asking him to rugby. We ask him to pooch punt where it comes inside the 5-yard line. And then obviously, we got great returners that we try to get it away from, like the Sam Houston game. And he's just a great weapon. But more than anything, man, I love that he's a part of our program, because that's what I wanted it to be about. He has earned everything he is getting, and no one even knew where Potosi or who the hell Zach Haynes is, right? And he got an opportunity, and look what he's done with it. First our program gave him an opportunity, which is good, but what he's done with it and his family, and of course we offered him a scholarship, and I know it meant a lot to his family to be there to see that. His teammates love him. Just can't say enough about him. He got a tattoo this summer, so I'm a little worried he's sowing some oats. That's a concerning start, but I think they're good. It was a family tattoo at least. But yeah, can't say enough about the man.
Does he have this mentality? First of all, he was the leading receiver for Potosi. He was also the leading tackler. He had 119 tackles to lead Potosi. So here's a guy who wants to get his nose bloodied inside a football game, and all of a sudden he is strictly a punter. Does he have a defender's mentality when he's out there punting?
Yeah. Well, he's an athlete. Like, you look at him and you think he's here to take the trash out. But don't judge a book by its cover, right? Because the dude's got a decent gear. He's tough. We faked a punt, and we asked him to throw it. I mean, just all those little things that when you look in the NFL and you look at all those punters, they are way better athletes than you think they are. Like, they're literally some of the top athletes in the country also. And so I think that's gone into what it takes to be a great punter in the OVC.
Let's talk it over with Zach Haynes. He will join us when we come back, the OVC Specialist of the Week. You're listening to the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We are live from Wings Etc. in Cape on SEMO ESPN.
And you can catch all the action on Real Rock 99.3. Join Eric Shawn from the Reese Metals broadcast booth every week to cheer on the Red Hawks football team as they hit the field.
next week. Did you know that there are over 70 items on the Wings Etc. menu that are not wings? Have you seen the brand new burger lineup? That includes their new mushroom and Swiss burger. In addition to that, they have wraps, salads, subs, quesadillas, and other favorites. And did you know you can order online now? You just go to the Wings Etc. website. You can order online for pickup. And if you would like it delivered, just go to DoorDash. You can download the DoorDash app, put in your information, and you can have Wings Etc. delivered right to your front door. It's Wings Etc., good food and great times. Let's welcome in Red Hawks punter Zach Haynes. How are you, Zach?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I like your hat, Bass Pro Shops. Where's the nearest Bass Pro Shop to Cape Girardeau?
Either probably Memphis or Springfield, Missouri.
The one in Memphis, isn't it at the Pyramid now?
Yeah, the glass pyramid.
Yeah.
I haven't been to that one, but I want to.
I was going to say that's we've driven by it several times, but that thing it's pretty massive. There was a rumor several years ago that they were thinking about building a Cabela's out near Jackson and Cape. There's a lot of land out there by exit 102. I don't think obviously hadn't come to fruition, but at least there was a rumor back in the day. So we talked about you being from Potosi. How far of a drive is that from Cape?
So it's about 2 hours from Cape.
So 2 hours. So that is perfect probably for your family. They have an opportunity to come and watch you play a lot.
Yeah, they love it because they can come to every game, and especially even the away games because no games are too far, especially being in the OVC. You got Tennessee State, Martin, which are not far at all,
right.
So they can come down and then make the trip back home.
And we'll be going to Murray State later this year, so I'm sure that's not a long drive to get to Murray State. What I thought was interesting is when you were at Potosi, you averaged right around 43.6 yards per punt. You averaged a little more this season. How do you get better? I mean, how do you get better at being a punter when you go from high school to the collegiate level, and how different is it punting collegiately than it was at Potosi?
So the difference is you have better players around you. So, like, in high school, my long snapper wasn't the best, but here I have Jensen, who's, like, really good, and, like, so he helps a lot. And then the main difference between high school and college is timing. Like, in high school, you didn't have to go super fast, but in college, you got to go quick or else they're going to block it. And the main way to get better is just work on hang time. That was my biggest problem when I first got here is I kicked the line drives. But now
that's not going to work.
No, especially with good returners.
Yeah.
But now I've been working on hang time, and I've been getting that hang time down, which helps force fair catches.
Well, how did you assess your performance? Now, your average wasn't as big as it was against Mizzou, against Sam Houston State. But, I mean, there were a couple of times where their punt returner, who, by the way, returned 180 yards for a touchdown in the national championship game. I mean, this guy's a big-time punt returner, and I saw him visibly walk off the field a couple of times, and he was mad that he had to throw up his arm for a fair catch. That has to make you feel good.
It does. Me and Coach Martin were talking about this returner since fall camp. He said, when we play Sam Houston, you're going to have to kick it to the sideline and get hang time. He said, we can't let him get an opportunity to return it. And that was one thing I was focusing on the entire week. And then to actually do it in the game, it felt really good. Even though my average wasn't the best, it still helped our team, which felt good.
See, that's a team mentality thing versus, what's my average after the game? Well, the guy didn't return anything. He kept fair catching it all night long. I think it's interesting that when you were at Potosi, you were wide receiver on offense. You were on defense as a junior, led the team with 119 tackles, 73 tackles as a senior, 4 touchdowns on offense as a junior, and you led your team in catches. Oh, you're also the kicker and the punter. Did you ever come out of a football game?
I did not. No. The main story I can remember is my very last high school game. We were playing Kennett, and it was an ugly game. We were getting blown out.
Okay, and it's really good.
Yeah, we were losing. I caught an 80-yard touchdown, and I had to go kick the field goal, and then I had to kick off, and then I had to go play defense. And I was gassed for that extra point.
I was going to say, can your coach at least call timeout, let you catch your breath?
He didn't. I wish he did. I was standing there. I'm like, guys, you got to give me a second. We can run down the play clock for a little bit, and then we can go, but I need a second.
Yeah, they don't have, and in high school games, I don't think they've got the oxygen tank on the sideline, do they?
No,
yeah,
they don't.
No chance for the O2. So you were a kickoff guy in high school. Do you work on kicking off? I mean, if there's an injury, are you like third in line behind Krause and Doak? Do you work on that, or are you strictly working on punting and that's it?
I strictly work on punting because I have never been the best kicker.
Okay.
In high school, we always did squib kicks because our kickoff coverage team wasn't great either. But so we did squib kicks a lot, which is what I did almost every game, and that's what I can do. I can't kick it deep. I can't kick it 5 out and back. But they're good at it. They do it. So I focus on punting.
Do you ever just in practice, okay, let's line it up. I think I can I can be more accurate kicking a field goal than you, Kenny Doak.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
It's constantly just a competition between everybody, just to mess around and be like, hey, I bet I can make this.
So if you're, always thinking about hang time and things of that nature, did you ever rugby punt in high school, and how much of a transition is it to learn the technique of rugby punting and explain to the listeners just exactly what the difference is between a regular punt and then a rugby punt?
So I never rugby punted in high school, and then I came here and I saw that they implement it in their punt scheme. So I started to work on it, and it's completely different than just traditional inside the pocket punting. It was a big learning curve for me, and I feel like I'm getting better, but I still have to work on it quite a bit. And the main difference is with traditional punting, you just take steps forward, sort of in the direction you want to punt it, and that's the direction you punt it. But with rugby, you roll out, like you shuffle a little bit to your foot side, and then you just kick it that direction. I know some guys who actually roll out and kick it the opposite direction. I don't know how they do that.
Wow.
But yeah.
And when you keep the front end of the football straight down at the ground, there are different techniques. What technique are you most comfortable with?
So the one I'm most comfortable with is probably just traditional with the ball flat, normal punting. And then with the nose down, that's what we call our pooch punt. And it's for shorter distances. Like if I want to pin them deep inside the 10 or something like that, I usually pooch punt it. Because if it hits right, it can bounce either straight up or backwards, and it won't roll into the end zone, which helps a lot.
How much did you pooch punt in high school, and how about this? I mean, how often do you have to work on this? You have pinned 9 punts in 3 games inside the 20-yard line. That has to be among the nation's leaders in inside the 20 punts.
So I didn't work on it in high school. It was just something when I came here we talked about doing. And then I tried it one day in practice, and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty decent at this. When we pooch punt, this is what I want to do. And it's just a lot easier for me. You can control it more. And, yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. The biggest thing that goes through your mind when you walk out into a football game, it's a tight game, and you're pinned up. Maybe you're punting out of your end zone, or you're right near the goal line, and you know they're going to be coming like mad dogs to try and get a hand on this football. What goes through your mind? What do you have to do to kind of keep everything under control?
It's definitely stressful, but I'm like, every time I go out there and I'm in a situation like that, I just got to calm myself down and I be like, okay, this is what I do. I can do it, and I trust the people in front of me to give me time to do it. So it's just when I go out there, I'm just like, okay, I do this. It's nothing.
And did you ever get a punt blocked in high school?
Not that I recall. No.
Have you gotten one? I'm trying to remember. Have you had one blocked at SEMO?
Sadly, yes.
Okay.
I have had one blocked.
One punt block. And how was Tuke the first guy to meet you at the sideline after the punt block?
I think Tuke was second. I think Coach Martin was first. He was not happy.
Well, it has been fun to watch you work, and now we get into it. I mean, the first 3 games, that's great, and $550,000 money game with Mizzou, but these are the conference games, and 2 playoff appearances, an OVC championship. I know you guys have high aspirations, and it all starts on Saturday.
Yes. So our first 3 games were rough. Played a really good SIU team, played the defending national champions, and then went and played an SEC team. But now we go into conference play, and we're like, we feel confident in our team. We know what we can do, especially against really good opponents. So we're comfortable knowing that we're going into OVC play now, but we know we're still going to have to play really good to win because there's still some really good teams.
And Tennessee State, if you look at special teams averages, they've got one of the best special teams units in the conference. That's what you'll see Saturday.
Yes, Caleb Mosley is a really good punter. He was on the list for FCS Punter of the Year. So he'll be really good, and I'm sure we'll game plan for it.
And they got an All-American kicker too. So yeah.
Antonio, yeah.
And they return the ball very well. So
Yes, they do.
we'll look for those big Zach Haynes hang time punts and some fair catches on Saturday.
I'll do my best.
All right. Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it, and we'll see you at Houck Stadium Saturday.
Thank you.
All right, Zach Haynes, the OVC Specialist of the Week in the Ohio Valley Conference. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, a quick word with Coach Tuke about the opponent, the Tennessee State Tigers. It'll be a 2 o'clock kickoff at Houck Stadium on Saturday. Hope you have your tickets. Get there early. Find the River Radio tent and stop by our tailgate. It's the Red Hawks Coaches Show from Wings Etc. on SEMO ESPN. Stopping by Wings for lunch. Check out their daily half-pound lunch specials. They start at just $7.99, and their appetizer lineup is absolutely phenomenal. Check out their ultimate nachos, their deep-fried pickle chips, and their brand-new portobello fried mushrooms. They are outstanding. If you haven't tried their portobellos, you put that on your to-do list. Wings, etc. Good food, great times. Home of the Coaches Show. Back with Coach Tuke. Your opponent will be Tennessee State on Saturday, and statistically, this is the best defense in the OVC, Coach. Total defense, they're not number one in scoring defense, but against the run, they have been very, very stingy so far. I know they played a D2 last week, but this defense statistically ranks right near the top.
Yeah, I think it'll start to show itself. You know, it's hard to talk statistics or compare things until there's common opponents. You know, so it's just stuff on a piece of paper. we know what it is we got to get better at. We want to make sure that the focus is still on the Red Hawks. Of course, we're going to rep their schemes and all those type of things, but we just got to be careful to make it all about Tennessee State. We miss that opportunity of continuing to try to get better. So that's the goal. But it's going to be a huge challenge. I know they're coming in and got just tremendous coaches and you got a great tailback, got good talent on defense. And so this is a huge test. Thank God we got them at home. And, being on the road two weeks in a row, you get short on preparation a little bit, short on sleep with the players and all that. So hopefully we're ready for this opportunity.
Eddie George, former Heisman Trophy winner, Hall of Famer with the Tennessee Titans, outstanding running back, won a Heisman at Ohio State, first year as a head coach at Tennessee State University. Kind of cool for the fans to know that, hey, there's a Hall of Famer over there on the sidelines. Maybe that sells an extra ticket or two. But a guy just cutting his teeth as a collegiate head coach.
Yeah.
You remember when you were cutting your teeth.
Absolutely. Well, I hope it doesn't come down between the two head coaches because it won't be close. That's good for our league. That's good for Tennessee State. I am so happy that he cares enough about young people to want to do this profession. I'm pretty sure he doesn't need that job. I don't look at money or whatever, but I'm pretty sure he's probably good. So why is he doing it? It's not for accolades and like he's already had all that, right? So I'm assuming he's doing it because he wants to have an impact on young people. We need more people like that. So I'm excited he's in the profession and pulling for him, besides this weekend.
Yeah, every other game except when he comes to Cape Girardeau. This is a unit in special teams. They're outstanding on special teams. Regardless of anything else that they do well or that they have struggled with, number one on kickoff coverage, All-American kicker, probably the best kicker in the league. Their punter is outstanding as well, among the best, and their return guys, they've got athletes. I mean, this is a team that can win close games with special teams.
Yeah, and I think, you look at their coaching staff. Like, they got former head coaches in the NFL on staff. And so they're going to be really well coached. And so we got a huge challenge. I think we could be pretty good on special teams. We're thin because of all the other injuries, but we got great specialists. We got to have a great plan and go out and try to make a play like we have.
So with Zach Smith and Zion Custis out on kick returns, who might we see back there returning kicks this week?
It's a great guess. It's an open competition. We had two muffed. Also, we had a muffed KOR versus Sam Houston and a muff versus Mizzou, and that's not good. So we got to shore that thing up, and so we got open tryouts.
That seems like a quick turnaround, too, because you've got multiple guys who are veterans in that area of kick and punt coverage. So the backup guys aren't getting that kind of reps in practice, and then all of a sudden now you need to press the fast-forward button, and guys need to get a bunch of reps in a hurry.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll do that. It starts tonight. We're going to get him a bunch of kicks. And also, if Shabari's back, maybe he'll do both.
And you look at what Zach Haynes has done since he stepped on campus, Coach. He said that he had never tried a rugby kick. And, as far as, pooch punting, something that he didn't do in high school. How about the way that he has transitioned into Mr. Hang Time and Mr. Pooch Punts? 9 punts inside the 20 in 3 football games?
No, exactly. He takes a challenge. As coaches, we say, look what we could do if you could do this. And the impact it could have in a game, and he's bought into it. And as a competitor, he wants to be successful out there. I'm glad you brought that up because it gave me a chance to clarify my remarks about Potosi. It's actually a wonderful place.
Okay.
It's got a state park, Washington State Park. It was, I think, first as a mining town. So a lot of my peeps there in Potosi, kind of hard hat, lunch pail people.
And those are your kind of people.
Exactly.
And when we talk about Zach Haynes' success, how about a little credit to your special teams coach, Coach Martin?
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Martin's done a great job. He's the only coach that's been with me from the get-go. Everybody else is new. And so he's done a great job. We've played pretty good on special teams since he's been here. He gets those guys going, and has a huge impact on this team.
All right, you've seen Tennessee State, seen the challenges you're going to see on special teams, and with that good defense of theirs, what do you have to do to beat the Tigers and get off to a 1-0 start in conference play Saturday?
Well, I think offensively we need to continue to establish the run. We need to improve our passing game. We can't turn it over. Defensively, we got to do a better job of making them earn it. We're giving up too many explosive plays. Then our pass defense is just, it's hardly even recognizable right now. And so we got to get our zone defense way better, and I think we'll do that. I think in the run game we'll be okay. It's especially when you compare to who we're playing. I think it's been okay, and so we just really got to get that pass defense going. I think a lot of people are quick to call out DBs or coverage or whatever, but we got to. It starts with pressure. We got to do a better job of affecting the quarterback.
All right. Do you see a totally different offensive scheme from Tennessee State
Yes.
from what they ran under Rod Reed and then
Yep.
Eddie George?
Yep, totally different. More pro style, lots of tight ends. They're doing tight end screens and lots of things like that. So it definitely seems like a pro style. They're still trying to find themselves. They've played a lot of quarterbacks, and so I know their running back was good last year. He's even better this year, and so that's a huge challenge. Again, we got to just keep the focus on us. They're going to run their plays, but if to give us the best chance to be successful is to just play better. And so what is it that we got to do to play better?
Coach, we appreciate the time as always each week. We'll see you at Houck Stadium. Good luck against the Tigers.
Thank you.
All right, that's the Red Hawks head coach, Tom Matukowicz. That's going to do it here for the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We'll be back here next Monday after the Red Hawks tangle with the Tigers, 2 o'clock kickoff at Houck Stadium. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody. So long from Wings, etc.